Alright, YouTube gang, it's your boy FridayRandommedia, and I'm back with another video here. Now, this isn't going to be on the official versus battle series, but this is a versus battle what if type scenario. Now, it says Justice League versus 5. Now, who are the 5? We'll get to that in a minute, but first off the bat, I do want to say this is not the entire main Justice League. Sadly, the big 3 are not in it. The team will consist of Superman, Wonder Woman, so you got those heavy hitters. You got Cyborg, you got Hawk Girl, and you got Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. So honestly, not a bad team whatsoever. Not a bad team whatsoever. Now, who is the 5? Now, the 5 is going to be a team of villains from the Marvel Universe. And this is going to consist of Doom. This is going to consist of Scarlet Witch, Magneto, Juggernaut, and Carnage. So we've got Superman, Wonder Woman, Hawk Girl, Cyborg, Green Lantern versus Doom, Scarlet Witch, Magneto, Juggernaut, and Carnage. Now, why do I find this to be a compelling matchup? Because this isn't a conventional, set of teams. This is, some of the B tier Justice League, some of the A tier Justice League, some of the C tier Justice League, and on the Marvel villain side, it's not like you have all A-lister villains. You got Doom, you got Magneto, both of those guys are really good leaders. You got Scarlet Witch, who's insanely powerful, but not in fully control of her powers. You got Juggernaut, and you got Carnage, who, is no slouch himself, but I wouldn't put him up near Doom or Magneto level. So there's an interesting level of threats on both sides, on both ends. And yeah, we're going to get into the scenario. I'm going to break down how the scenario comes about, set up each battle, go over everybody's powers, abilities briefly. I don't want to take too much time on this. And yeah, without boring you guys any longer, let's get into it. The Justice League versus the 5. Here is our scenario. Universes collide in mixed match. Some DC, some Marvel. The Justice League members try to get home and fix the issue, starting with Cyborg and his boom tube technology approach. He soon discovers Doom tech nearby, so the Justice League take down some Doom bots and continue to look for Doom. Meanwhile, Doom also wants to use Cyborg as a means to get back home, or, better yet, rule as many universes as possible. Doom will have to defeat the Justice League, and upon doing his research as he usually does, he realized the threat level. Doom gathers his love interest and Queen of Chaos, the Scarlet Witch, also her father Magneto, along with Magneto's main goon, Juggernaut, and Doom also found Carnage and was like, fuck it, man. Let's get it on, brother. So Doom preps for an ambush, leading the Justice League right into a trap. So let's get into how we're going to set up each of these battles. Now, number 1, upon impact, the first thing Doom does is use a spell to BFR both him and Superman, believing himself to be the only one truly capable of killing Superman. The two portal into what seems to be a pocket dimension or another realm, and they begin to square up. Number 2, back at the ambush site, Juggernaut charges on Wonder Woman, missing her, but also catching her dodge. Juggernaut drags Wonder Woman away from the battleground to complete their 1v1 in a menacing fashion. Number 3, out of a seemingly nowhere, Carnage springs upon Hawk Girl. She takes the flight into the sky as she bashes Carnage off of her, hitting him multiple times. But Carnage uses his symbiotic shapeshifting to corral her wings, and the two tumble back to Earth to continue their fight. Number 4, pitying his team's lack of tactic, Magneto approaches the scene, Cyborg stepping up to bat. Cyborg takes several blasts, but all are blocked by Magneto's shields. Cyborg feels his body lifting off of the ground, sees Magneto smirk, and realizes he's in some deep shit here. Now number 5, finally, Green Lantern enters the sky, followed by Scarlet Witch. The two quip how she can't will him away, or some corny comic shit like that. Lantern's construct is blocked, and Scarlet Witch traps Green Lantern in a bubble, but he crashes out with just his strength alone. So there we go, the fights are set up, they're ready to play out. Let's get into the powers and abilities of Scarlet Witch and Green Lantern to start. With Scarlet Witch, she has probability manipulation, reality manipulation, she has her chaos magic, her teleportation, her telekinesis, so pretty stacked on the hacks. That's going to be her main asset in these fights. With her reality manipulation, she can have elemental manipulation like trees, water, oxygen, fire, pretty much anything around here that she can physically touch. Even oxygen, which I guess you can't really touch, but you know what I'm saying. With her probability manipulation, it's almost like luck hacks in a way, but it is random. And even in the earlier comics, it was kind of crappy. It didn't really always work in her favor. Her telekinesis, she causes objects to fall. She also has some mental hacks as well, as you've seen in the movies. I think in the MCU we've seen that a few times. Her chaos magic, she can deflect spells and send them back. She can put people in magic bubbles. She has magical blasts that she can use, so pretty heavy on the hacks. Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, very powerful guy. His strength and his flight alone is very underrated. He's rocking with Superman as far as his strength and his speed. His energy projections and constructs coming from the Green Lantern ring, they're able to restrain powerful foes. This dude can also create weapons like rockets, fists, spikes, scissors, sharks, helicopters. He's got a whole arsenal, whatever he imagines, basically. He also makes very powerful force fields and shields, taking attacks from Superman, Wonder Woman, other strong ring core foes. And another thing that's very underrated is his willpower alone. This man can resist very strong mental attacks. And also, he can work a nearly dead Lantern ring with just his willpower alone. So, he himself is like an engine of willpower. Now, we're going to get back into how this fight plays out. So, Green Lantern and Scarlet Witch would go back and forth, trading construct attacks for reflection spells. Hal finds himself in a restraint once more, but Wanda notices the ring is the power source, so she begins to depower the ring. Unfortunately, I don't think Wanda manages to do this in time, to which Hal breaks from the restraints, and he uses his sheer strength alone, rocking Wanda, KOing her, and ultimately Green Lantern will win this battle. Now I'm going to get into Cyborg and Magneto, the powers and abilities. I'm going to start with Cyborg with his technological manipulation. He's able to absorb technology to upgrade himself, better weapons, better defenses, more power, ultimately just beef himself up. His shields, he also can deploy electromagnetic field to cancel out some magnets if people want to try to do him that way, hint hint. His strength is underrated. His electric attacks via his cannons, his energy blast via his cannons that can affect Shazam, John Stewart, even Darkseid. Not to say that he puts them down, but affecting them alone is pretty impressive. Now, obviously, he's also got his boom tubes, his bread and butter for, BFRing opponents. So, Cyborg, underrated opponent here. Magneto, however, very hacksy, electromagnetic control. That's how he flies. That's how he does a lot of his organ and blood manip. He can shut off people's brains with seizures and strokes. His electricity manipulation, how he can control machinery. He can extract electricity and use electrocution blasts. Obviously, his metal manipulation here. He manipulates metal down to the atomic level. So pretty extreme there. We've seen him use that against Wolverine a few times. Also, his shields are very underrated. They've been able to block Mjolnir. They've been able to block Thor, Hercules, Ghost Rider, Doom, even Phoenix. So his shields are no joke. And his blasts, he's able to blast through an entire mountain. So, I mean, he's not just your average bloke here. He's able to throw enemies into orbit and then retrieve them later on. He's able to lift and restrain foes such as Red Hulk and Hercules. So, even then, you're like, okay, what about his durability? He's been able to take shots from Namor. So he's not just some old guy with a lot of powers. He's not a glass cannon. So let's get into how the battle plays out. Shortly after Cyborg is lifted in the air, he blasts off several cannons at Magneto, but Magneto is prepared for this with his own shields. Cyborg goes for a Hail Mary, accessing his boom tubes, but Magneto crushes them to bits before Cyborg even has a chance. Sad to say, but Magneto violently and quickly disassembles Cyborg. Magneto wins. And I think This shouldn't be too much of a shock, honestly. This shouldn't be too controversial of a take. So on to our next fight, we got Hawk Girl and Carnage. And we're going to start with the powers and abilities for Hawk Girl. But I do want to say, for Hawk Girl, I had to pull info from a few different places. And I kind of pulled some info from Hawkman as well that I think would apply to both. So, yeah, it's not strictly just Hawk Girl I'm talking about. It's got a little Hawkman in there as well. So I want to apologize, but it is what it is, man. Durability and strength to contend with the likes of Black Adam, Solomon Grundy at times. She can hang with high tier people. It's just she's not at that level. She's not an A tier Justice League member. Her wings and her nth metal gear, it's able to regenerate her body, able to regenerate wounds. It's also one of the hardest metals, if not the hardest metal in the DC universe. So another thing, her speed, not as fast as the top tier Justice League members, but she's up there. She's not a slouch. Now let's get into Carnage powers and abilities. We're going to start off with his shape shifting. Any shape, almost any size, he can morph into it thanks to the symbiote. His shields, he can make blades, he can make projectiles, he can make weird symbiotic constructs. So there's a lot of hacksy things that Carnage can do. He's even able to, stretch himself across the entire city at times. His camo abilities with his stealth, he's able to be undetected, and he's not detected by spider sense as well. His physicals, a lot of people overlook his physicals. He is stronger than both Spider-Man and Venom combined. His speed, he's able to blitz Spider-Man, blitz Venom, catch Nova while Nova was going to blitz. So this is top tier speed. This is top tier reaction speed. And this is thanks to the symbiote. Another thing is the symbiote's regeneration. Carnage was able to reform his head after it exploded, and he was also able to recover from being ripped in half in space by Sentry, which that was a pretty nutty panel, by the way. So let's get into how this battle plays out exactly. So Hawk Girl and Carnage tumble back to Earth and they square up. Carnage, probably has some edgy shit to say, but Hawk Girl immediately blitzes and puts in some work on Carnage. She lands some solid shots, hurting Carnage, sending him back, and she dodges a lot of Carnage's projectiles and blades because of her skill and her warriorship. Hawk Girl finds herself in trouble though when Carnage wraps her wings up again, restrains her, and eventually uses the symbiote, leaking into her organs, killing her from the inside. That's right. I think Carnage kills her internally. Carnage wins this battle. So for our next fight, this one's going to be a little bit more controversial. We got Wonder Woman versus Juggernaut, and we're going to get into their powers and abilities. Starting with Wonder Woman's physicals, she's on strength and speed and durability, all on par with the Superman and Lantern tiers. She survives brutal beatdowns from Doomsday and Darkseid. She fights Supergirl. Her physical abilities are basically on par with Superman. I'll say it. Her skills, she's one of the best combatants, the most, celebrated warriors in all the DC universe. And when I get into her weapons and technology, she has her lasso, which we all knows about. She has her bracelets that have super blocking ability. They block bullets that are able to penetrate Superman, which is, I don't even know what to think about that. She has her shield that could block shots from Doomsday, and her sword that even cut Darkseid. Wonder Woman is pretty nutty with it. Now, getting into Juggernaut's powers and abilities, starting with his physicals, we can say that he's on par with Hulk, basically, in almost every way. Hulk level strength, speed, reaction time, Hulk level durability. Juggernaut was able to regenerate and actually function as nothing but a skeleton inside his suit. And that's a pretty high tier, high end feat, but I mean, it's a freaky weird moment if you go check out the panel. Juggernaut trades hands with World War Hulk, Hyperion, The Thing, Thor, Scar, and more. So he's no slouch in the hands department. Of course, he has his super run. He can't be stopped by even World War Hulk, who had a standstill with the Sentry. So Juggernaut is just physically on another level. His armor and helmet technology, enchanted the bands of Sidorak. His helmet blocks psychic attacks, mental attacks, and his force field. His force field is something that I don't see a lot of people talk about. His force field is even able to block Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. So, all around, very interesting battle. Let's get into how I think it plays out. When it comes down to it, Wonder Woman versus Juggernaut is a matter of skill versus brute force. The two square up. Juggernaut once again is the aggressor, but Wonder Woman is a great blocker and dodger. She dances around Juggernaut, striking him, slashing him multiple times before Juggernaut finally lands a shot. But Wonder Woman's been in this fight time after time before. The two trade blows, they trade strikes, they trade gashes, but the longer Wonder Woman takes to defeat Juggernaut, the more of a chance I think he has to capitalize on the fight. So although Wonder Woman is so nimble, durable, she's more skilled, she has better weapons, once Juggernaut has her in a bad spot, with no backup to come save her, he's going to get on top of her and smother her with punches, and she's not going to have a real chance to escape. So I see her taking too much time to fight Juggernaut, him getting her in a bad scenario, and it's just a time that she doesn't have to make any fuck-ups. So in the end, I think Juggernaut does get the upper hand and wins. Now finally, the grand finale here, we have Superman versus Doctor Doom. We're going to get into their powers and abilities. And Superman's physicals to begin with. His strength, speed, durability rival. All those to Black Adam, Wonder Woman, Flash. All the Justice League, basically. He is a full-on team breaker. He regularly breaks lantern constructs. His heat and laser vision, it alternates what people want to say. I'll say laser vision. It's able to burn Doomsday. Seems to get hotter and stronger when Supes is getting for real about the shits. He can also do weird rapid fire lasers, which is kind of dope. His flight, just like his speed, Flash tier speed, man. He's so fast when he wants to be. He trades hands with Doomsday, Darkseid, Wonder Woman. Many more high-tier characters, very strong, very athletic characters. Their physicals are off the charts, and a lot of just very powerful beings. So, up next, we're going to get into Doom. His magic rivals Doctor Strange, even surpassing him sometimes because Doctor Doom is willing to get into the trenches, man. He's willing to get dark with it. His technology and gear rivals that of Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and even Wakanda's technology. His armor has Hulk-level durability. His armor also has a lot of different energy absorptions. His force field can block against electromagnetic and teleportation attacks and even more energy attacks. Blasts, he has BFRs, he has gases, he has lots of different things at his disposal. Another thing I meant to say with his magic is he's able to summon creatures and summon things. His Doombots, they fight Avengers, they fight Silver Surfer, they fight high tier enemies as well, so he has an army of Doombots at his disposal on top of himself. Strip away all that magic, strip away all that tech, he still has his skill. His hand-to-hand skill is up there. His swordsmanship skill is very high tier. He's also a prep time monster. He is a strategic monster. He is so cunning that Thanos and more powerful beings have to keep an eye on him at all times. So, both of these opponents are no joke whatsoever. I'm going to get into how their battle breaks down. Now, when it comes to Doom and Superman facing off, it's all on the table here. Superman isn't sure of what Doom is quite capable of, so he attempts to talk to Doom. Doom tries to convince Superman to hand over Cyborg, hand over the technology, supervillain plan, yada yada yada. Superman tells Doom off, and it's obvious they're about to throw down, to which Doom claims, "That's why I brought you here for me alone." A horde of Doombots swarm from portals from all angles, attacking Superman, not giving him any chance to breathe. Taking some damage, Superman disposes the bots rather quickly. Now, during this time, Doom would be deploying a solar energy absorption device, and Superman would realize he's being powered down, so maybe he should try to regroup with his league, not fight Doom by himself. At this point, Superman is slightly damaged, but actively being powered down, so he attempts to fly away, but Doom has closed them off in a mystical force field, and now it comes down to the 1v1. Superman blitzes, desperately landing a couple punches. Doom fires off some magical blasts and shrinks the force field around them even smaller, forcing the two combatants in a closer fight. Superman fires off his laser vision, which Doom is prepared for, and absorbs the power of the laser vision, sending it back at Superman. At this point, Superman is so weakened and deprived of what gives him strength. He's slower, he's weaker, he's not healing, and he is exhausted. Doom then explains he wanted the 1v1 away from the scene because Doom and only Doom is powerful enough and cunning enough to kill the Superman. So, under the stress of the magical force field drawing power from Superman, the solar energy absorption device drawing power from Superman, no sun to power Superman, Doom then takes the moment to use a kryptonite sword to behead the Superman. Doom wins. Now, upon all the villains returning and regrouping, Green Lantern realizes he's on his own, and I think he tries to dip, but I don't think he can get away. I think all of the villains who are still left are going to supremely rock his world. Now, if you don't think this is the way the fight would go, that's perfectly fine. Comment down below how you think it would go. But this isn't meant to be taken too seriously. This isn't meant to be taken with all fact, all seriousness in hand. I had a lot of fun doing this. I like doing these scenarios. It's good to get a break from the versus battles that are strictly 1v1s. It's good to add some plot and some narrative into these battles, and especially a team battle. It's very difficult to do a team battle that doesn't have some sort of plot or scenario or twist to it. So yeah, I gave Dr. Doom some prep time, which is, basically a death sentence most of the time. But also, when you got Superman on your side, it's arguably the same story. So I thought it would be, fun to tell you how and why I think this battle and these battles go the way they do. What really was interesting me about this battle and these matchups was on the DC side of things, you got a lot of characters that revolve around their skills, around their weapons, around their brute physical attributes. And on the other side of the coin, you got the Marvel villains who rely heavy on their specific abilities and their hacks. It's a very hacks-heavy team, aside from Juggernaut, who even has some magic hacks on his side. So, I thought that was a very good contrast of characters, a very good contrast of powers and abilities. Overall, I had a really fun time doing this. I hope you guys had a fun time listening as well. Like I said, comment down below how you think this battle would have played out, who you think would have been better fighting who. Some of these matchups are kind of lopsided, but that's how it goes in real fights sometimes. That's how it goes on the battlefield, dog. It's not always clean-cut, good shit, Sometimes it gets dirty in the trenches, but before I let this drag out too long, I want to say thank you guys for checking in. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, drop a comment down below what you guys want to see next. I got my Versus Battle series Season 2 coming out here next month. We're going to be doing villains and anti-heroes. Going to be a good time. I also got some more what if videos planned for the future. I'm also going to be adding on to my series about the werewolves of fictional universes. The next 2 videos we're going to be doing for that is werewolves of the modern day fantasy universes and werewolves of sci-fi fantasy universes. So thank you guys very much. It's Friday Random Media. Find me on TikTok. Have a good day. Peace out.